G'day YouTube, 1MJ here and welcome back. Alright, Saturday afternoon here in Australia and this market just continues to go up. I put a poll out the other day and I said, do you expect Bitcoin to kind of go down to 42, 43,000 before it goes back up? And 70% of people said no, and I thought, oh, that's pretty bullish. I wasn't sure if that would be right, and sure enough, I think Bitcoin wicked down to very close to 43,000. I will have a look on the charts and see whether I got there, but basically it's just gone up. Look, we're getting ever so close to 48,000, but the big news of the sort of markets at least is this: we are over $2 trillion again. So anyone who's been watching my channel for a while, and if you've, listened to what I'm saying, none of it was financial advice, but I said don't panic when we saw that downturn. I didn't think that was the end of the market. I thought we still had more to go. And look, I still could be wrong. We'll have a look at the Bitcoin chart and it'll give us a bit of an indication. But wow, if you've held, you're probably doing pretty good right now. Now, unfortunately, if you bought at the very top a couple of months ago, then you're probably still going to be down. But at least it looks like things are coming back. And again, we'll have a look shortly. But 2 trillion, that is great. We were at around about 2.7, 2.8 trillion though. So, that's the scary part right there. We've still got a fair way to go. We've got about half of where we are right now to get back to our old all-time highs. That's total market cap I'm talking about. Bitcoin dominance is starting to fall again, and that doesn't sort of surprise me. People are getting bullish on all the altcoins as well. People are still buying Bitcoin as well, don't get me wrong, but they're also spanning out into all the altcoins. Volume has dropped substantially. It's a weekend, that's to be expected. These things happen, but that has dropped, and the Bitcoin price itself is still up though, 5%. And Gwei, gas prices still sitting around sort of $2.50. Not great, but look, nowhere near as bad as what they have been previously. And again, it'll be interesting to see if the gas prices get back up into the hundreds like they were very early this year and sort of last year, or hopefully, the hard fork has, EIP 1559 has actually stopped that from happening. Don't get me wrong, you go to Uniswap or something, you're still going to be paying about $30, $40 for a trade right there, but that's better than the couple of $100, and I think it literally got up to $300-400 for a while on Uniswap to do a trade at one stage. So I can handle $40, but I can't handle $400. And look, I'll be honest, I'm only doing a $40 trade on Uniswap if there's a lot of sort of money involved, and a lot in my terms, not in other people's terms. But yeah, such an interesting space and such an interesting time. So let's have a look. All right, we can see it's basically a sea of green at the moment. XRP, it's really starting to make a move. I'm so glad I bought back in. I was questioning myself, whether I should have. It's paid off. I'm still kicking myself for, selling, basically all of it at a loss, last year, but, or earlier this year, I should say, but that's the things we do sometimes. All right, 24-hour change. What's done the best? Because, just about everything's doing pretty good at the moment. Holy moly, Quantum, there we go, 30%. Synthetics starting to fire up, 20%. Clayton, 20%. Neo, 13%. EOS, good lord, out of nowhere, 12%. VeChain, nice, 10%. XRP, 10%. Atom Cosmos, also up sort of nearly 10%. We got some, really nice gains right across the board. I got a Matic story that we're going to look at, and they're starting to pump as well. They've been doing quite nicely. So, it looks like just green across the board. Has there been any losses in the top 100 though? Let's have a look. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's probably only stable coins, but there's usually going to be an outlier somewhere there as well. All right, there we go. So IXT still down a little bit. Raven coin, Celsius token down a little bit. And then, we're really getting into, stable coins and sort of things like, oh, actually, no, that's not true. Waves coin. And then we start to get into the stable coins. So almost no losses. Again, a 5% loss, and I'm sure IOX T did fairly well in the week previously. Same with Raven coin. I know they had a really big pump not too long ago. And then, yeah, stable coins. That is it. So the market is looking hot, but we're still not quite out of, a possible turnaround. There are people out there who still think this is nothing but a bull trap. All right, here we go. Let's have a look. and it bounced perfectly off that downtrend line, and look, we're straight back up into this upwards trending channel that we have been in for a long time. We're above it, and we're happy to be above the upwards trending channel, and then we were down below, and that's where it got scary, and now we're straight back in there. And the scary part is we are on the down part, on the lower side of this. So currently, and I'll drag this across, as of the 22nd of August, which is not that far away, about a week, the upside, and that's just in this channel, it can definitely break out of the channel, is 97,000 for Bitcoin. I'm not saying Bitcoin's going to $97,000 in basically the next week. All I'm saying is this is the space it's been playing in. Like, if we pull this out to here, this is where Bitcoin's been playing for basically since the crash of March last year. This is where it's been. Like I said, we broke out to the top for a while and the upside's good, and then we've basically ranged in here. So the upside, if we just stay in this channel, is nearly 100,000. I get the feeling like we'll probably go over 100,000. No guarantees in life. That is definitely not financial advice. And then we just have to wait and see how long this plays out for. There's people who think, that are big proponents of the lengthening cycles. I'm a bit of a believer in that from some of the things I've seen online, but, we'll have to wait and see. All I know is make sure you have some levels where you're going to take some profits. And if it's, levels as in time levels, like, with the next 3 months or the next 1 week or, whatever, or it's price levels, when something gets to a 3x from where it was, just make sure you're taking some profits. If you're a long-term hodler, and that's generally what I am, then you're just going to hodl, for a long, long time, and that's fine. That is a way, but you've got to understand that we're probably closer to the top than, well, we definitely are. I mean, that was the bottom basically way back here. So we are closer to the top, and there's definitely going to be, something that happens that we'll see a fairly hefty correction at some stage. And I think we'll probably have another correction or two before we actually get to the peak. I think there's a good chance around about sort of $80,000. I think it gets a correction from there, and it'll likely pull back down into the kind of 60s. I think that is highly likely to happen. And then I think around about 100,000, there'll also be a lot of people trying to take profit. But I think the hysteria will probably be taking over at 100, and it'll be interesting to see how far over 100,000 it can go. We got to remember, Plan B said $288,000 is definitely something that's on the table, and it'll be interesting to see if that happens. And kind of the sad part is, a lot of people, I'm sure, will be wanting to take profits from Bitcoin just under 100,000. It'll be not funny, but it'll be interesting if Bitcoin just rockets past, 200 and goes up to $300,000-$400,000 and then never comes below $100,000 again. I mean, in the end, you never lose money taking profits, but it could be one of those times where maybe you took profits too early. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. I still encourage everyone to take profits, get out at least what you put in, get that back. You want to have some cash on the sides, not a whole lot of cash, but cash can make some pretty good returns on things like BlockFi, Celsius, and other places like that. So cash is actually not too bad, other than having it sitting in a bank where they just really aren't paying any returns. But we do need to remember the buying power of the dollar continues to go down. So really, where you put your money, and again, none of this is ever financial advice, is up to you. But for me, I don't want to have too much sitting in cash. I definitely want to have a cash position. I have a very small cash position at the moment. I bought through this dip. Now, I didn't buy down here and I didn't sell up here, but I was definitely sort of buying in through this. So most of my cash has, gone into coins. Now we've got to wait to see, where this market goes, but I absolutely do plan. I always, again, not always, if I feel like we're at the bottom, then this can change, and I felt like we're at the bottom here. I wasn't exactly right, but I was at least somewhat right, that this was the bottom, so I deployed most of my cash. But I really, for me, I like to have 10 to 15 to 20% in cash at all times, because you can't buy the dip if you don't have any cash. Hence why you got to take some profits at some stages. And when things are really heating and starting to fly, don't go chasing anything. Let other less savvy investors go chasing that and wait for the pullbacks to buy in. Don't buy into the pumps. Now again, when I say that, if you bought into this pump, it possibly could have been a bad time, but I mean, in the end, look what it did. So, you take that with a bit of a grain of salt, but for me, I don't like to chase pumps. I like to make the moves on the other side. So again, when things were kind of going down, because I said this during my videos, is I always felt like it didn't matter what Bitcoin was really going to do and the market in general when I was sort of buying through here, because I was buying it basically half price. Even if this had kept going down to 20,000, 10,000, 12,000, whatever it may have been, eventually when it got back to its all-time high, I would have been buying at massive discounts. And so that's the way I look at my strategy. I don't want to chase things that are at all-time highs, but again, that's not to say never. I just don't like to chase it, and I don't throw too much money into it, because you just have to be careful. But you can get things at all-time highs depending where it is in the cycle. If you think you know where the cycle is at and it's still just about to blast off, then buying something at an all-time high is not so bad if you believe it's going to go another 4, 5, 6, 10x from where it already is. But that is a very dangerous game to play. And again, I just need to remind everyone, I don't offer you financial advice. But as I said before, we're not quite out of the, the possible downside just yet. We have broken this, and that's great. But these lines aren't always the definitive answer of where it will roll over. This could be the start of the rollover here, and then all of a sudden we just go down, 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 and down. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I'm not telling you that's what's going to happen, but it is possible. Really, we're not going to know that we are literally back into a bull cycle until we break here. Once we get over that, then you can kind of say, yep, confirmed, we are definitely back in a bull market, because it might come up to about here and then roll over. It might come up to about here and roll over. It might come up to about here and then roll back over. And if it rolls back over at any point before sort of really 63,000, then really we have been in a bear market ever since back here. This was just the bull trap that some people have been saying. Get everyone think it's going to go bullish, and then it rolls over and goes all the way back down. Consideration only for me. That is, like I said, I've always got a plan of what I think is going to happen, but then I have a plan for, well, what if that doesn't happen? Then what do I do? And again, I don't think we're going to roll over, but definitely possible. All right, here I think is the biggest story I could find today. I've said this before, and I can't say it enough. I'm so glad that I got into Matic / Polygon, or Polygon / Matic, whichever way you want to go, and that I didn't sell. There were so many times I was going to sell, it just wasn't doing anything. A lot of people have been talking about Matic kind of doing that lately. It was at $2.20 and it got down to around about $1.90, something like that. And people were upset because it wasn't moving. And it is starting to move. I think in the last 24 days, it's up nearly 100%, something like that. It's moved quite substantially. But Polygon, they are announcing a strategic focus on ZK-based scaling solutions and a $1 billion funding round in their effort. They have merged with Hermes Network. Now, more so Hermes Network is merged with them, so they are going to become part of Polygon, not Polygon become part of Hermes, although really, that's kind of splitting stones. But it's massive news, because now Polygon are going to be part of the actual solution to scaling Ethereum as a whole, as opposed to just scaling Polygon. This is really, really big news. Go and check this out on their thread over on Twitter. There's a whole stack of things that they go through. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I will go to over here. So Polygon acquires Hermes Network for $250 million and will merge native tokens. So it says here, as part of the merge, holders of Hermes native HES will be able to exchange the tokens at a rate of 3.5 to 1 to Polygon's Matic tokens. Polygon said HES tokens would eventually be phased out at an unspecified date. So again, you'll just swap them over. I'm sure the process will be quite easy. But this is good news for all those involved. And yeah, again, I am so bullish. I'm so glad that I held on to this. And I remember them talking about they were going to, look at all different kind of ways of scaling. It wasn't just optimistic roll-ups and those kind of things. They have a number of different avenues that they're looking at scaling. And now this is really the big one, ZK roll-ups. There's a lot of people who are pretty bullish on that system. Says down here though the companies will remain separate entities, Keep Network and NuCypher announced in March they will integrate their data encryption and protection protocols into a new network called Keanu. Nice, I do like that name. Though the project said they will form a decentralized autonomous organization, the development will be driven by two independent teams rather than a full merger. So there's a whole lot of things coming together here. Again, this is what is needed to push crypto to that kind of next level. We just showed before that, it's $2 to basically do a transaction on basic Ethereum, very simple transactions, and about $40. You go onto Polygon, you're paying cents, literally cents. And that is now going to, become part of the entire Ether sort of system. ETH 2.0, and some people know this, and I hope my viewers do, ETH 2.0 by itself cannot handle the entire world to come on it. It won't work. It needs other solutions. Polygon, Loopring, optimistic roll-ups, all those kind of things. This is going to be one big framework that makes Ethereum. Ethereum 2.0 itself can't do it all. A lot of people were worried about Polygon and what happens when ETH 2.0 rolls out. They're going to be a side chain. ETH 2.0 will have side chains. It needs side chains. What is it? Polkadot, which has done really, really well. And sorry, it was Polkadot that went up over 100% in the last 24 days, not Polygon. I got those confused. Polygon has been going up though. It's doing quite nice. I think at about $1.48. And again, it was down around $1 something not that long ago. But Polkadot will sort of act like a side chain for Ethereum, or Ethereum could be a side chain for Polkadot, depending on how you want to look at it. And look, all the networks will connect to each other and will be side chains. I think Cardano will be as well. I really do. Yeah, I can't say how happy I am that I came across crypto. I cannot tell you how happy I am. It's been the best thing. And it's not just because of the price gains that I've made. It's just being at the, and I'm going to say this, at the forefront of the space. I'm not developing anything, but I am here, watching it all happen in front of my eyes, watching the development, watching, the enthusiasm for the space, and, being here before the big players, really got here. There were big players that were here before me, but a lot of, big players have sort of come after me. Tesla came after me, MicroStrategy came after me, all these other big companies, coming after me. And, I don't want to make it sound like, hey, I was here first, because there are a lot of people here before me, but it excites me to know that I was early to a space. And, someday I'll be able to tell people, yeah, I was one of the early adopters of cryptocurrency. Not the earliest, people like Dan Held and, lots of other people were here long before me, but I was still one of the early adopters, and I am proud of that accomplishment. It's a self-accomplishment, not an accomplishment that everyone else needs to go, oh, that really isn't anything to you, because for you, it wouldn't matter to you, but for me, it's one of the things I am proud of. Anyway, I've gone off on a bit of a tangent there. All right, this was scary though. Beware, there is a fake Cardano wallet being marketed on Discord. So they're saying it's a new upgrade to the wallet. It is fake. Please beware. Be very, very careful. Go to the actual website, the proper website when you're supposed to update. Hopefully, you've bookmarked it and things like that. Because we've got here, the copycat had some notable differences from the verified one. And this is happening on Reddit at the moment as well. I think someone on Reddit posted about it. It is happening on Discord. So the one marketed on Discord has a URL address ending with .one, so .one, in contrast to the original version which ends with .io, so Daedalus Wallet.io, not Daedalus Wallet.one. So please be very, very careful. That'll be, so crap if anyone would have, and unfortunately people probably already have. People are losing their Cardano as we speak, so just be very, very careful. Goes down here, talks about it. Make sure you always have the official websites of something booked, and you confirm and reconfirm that they are the official ones. Checking all the handles and everything, that they marry up from Facebook to Twitter to, all the different sites will have the same one. Whereas if one of them doesn't have one that's the same as the rest, then that is most likely a fake. All right, and last but not least, this is interesting, and we'll have to wait and see whether this can be trusted. So the IRS says they won't go after Bitcoin miners regardless of broker definition. So the Biden administration reportedly isn't interested in applying the Senate Infrastructure Bill's definition of broker to miners, validators, and developers. Now, look, it's really, really good that they've said this, because that was one of the things that a lot of people were worried about. But, and unfortunately there is a but, do you trust your government? I mean, I'm here in Australia. I do trust the Australian government, but not with everything and not 100%. They've definitely, told porkies to plenty of their citizens before, and they tell slight truths and half truths and, twist what the truth is. So for me, I hope this is true. Unfortunately, what happens in the US will have ramifications around the world, but maybe there'll be some countries that if they go down this route and they stick with it as is, other countries will say, no, we don't like that, and we'll just simply change it. I can't imagine US is going to let themselves pass laws like this that will hamstring them and put them at the back of the run when it comes to the new financial world that is coming. And it is crypto. I think this is all a big play from the start to try and scare everyone out of it for as long as they can. And I've said this before, until they've, got themselves set and they are finally ready to let everything run. And I don't think half this bill, even if, more than a few bits and pieces of this bill will actually get up, I think the bill that everyone wants will be pretty close to the one that eventually gets passed. All right, look, that's it from me. Saturday here in Australia, obviously sort of going on very, very early Saturday stateside time. Probably going to be a little bit quiet in terms of news and things like that, but it will be interesting to see what can the Bitcoin price do. Are we going to have a traditional weekend sell-off, or is it just going to continue to pump through? All right, that's it from me. Stay safe, be kind to one another. Hopefully you're all on that gain train, and I'll see you next time.